Hey guys, how you doing? Today is April 18th maybe, and I just was out here cleaning the garage, and I got a couple things I wanted to go over. First of all, thank you to everybody who sent me license plates. I finally got them hung up on the wall here, so still got plenty of empty spots though. I'll find stuff to put in there. But anyways, this air compressor, I put 220 in the garage here, and I plugged it in, and it runs fine. Only I did look it over, and there is right here, somebody had already patched it. It looks like they went over it several times with weld. So that's one spot. And then I did also find a pinhole right in this area here. So I could either weld it again or try to find a different tank. And this is a 3-horse motor. Gives me 9.8 cubic feet at 40 psi. So I don't know. I mean, I did a little digging around on Craigslist, and I found something that I think will work. And for what I paid for it, I don't think it's a bad deal. But I found a 60-gallon, it's a Husky tank, so Home Depot brand, but it's a 60-gallon tank, and I believe the max PSI is 155 with the motor that typically goes on this, and that's a 3.7 horse. So I think if I mount that 3-horse on here, I should be okay, at least for a while anyways. But that's what today's project's going to be, is to try to get that 3-horse mounted on here. So another thing I wanted to go over with you guys is leaving your drawbar in your receiver hitch. That Dodge that I had the drawbar in the receiver hitch, and this is what I had to do to get it out. So I'll kind of go through it with you. Basically, I soaked this thing with PB Blaster for probably the better part of a few days, and beat on it with a 20-pound sledge, and it just would not move. The only way I could get it to move would be forward, which is not the way we want it to move. So I did a little YouTubing, and what I ended up doing was I cut the receiver off outside the hitch, or the drawbar off outside the hitch itself, so I had probably a 1/4 inch of the remaining drawbar left sticking out. And then I took and I got a long metal sawzall blade like this here. I believe it's probably 12 inch, 14 maybe, 12 inch blade. And this receiver was actually like this inside that hitch. So what I did was I cut down. So let me set up the tripod here. I got a tripod, why don't I use it? So it was in there like this, and I cut down at an angle towards the outside of the receiver hitch. And I cut that the full length, okay? Once I did that, I was able to take a chisel and knock the bottom piece out, okay? So actually it was like this. And once that was out, then I took a chisel and drove it in between the drawbar and the receiver, the hitch, drove it back, and eventually I was able to get this thing loosened up enough to where it would come out. First of all, you should be putting grease on your drawbar, especially if you're going to leave it in. Put a very liberal amount of marine grease or whatever heavy duty grease you want to put on here to keep it from rusting in there. So, second of all, I wouldn't recommend leaving it in there. But that has since been fixed, as you guys know, because you saw the video of me going to get the F20. So, and an update on that, I will be going to get the other F20 for parts, or I'm going to open them both up and take a look and see which one's better or worse. Whatever one is better, I'll start with that one. You know, that other F20, it's stuck, but it may not be stuck that bad. So if I can get that one popped loose, I'll probably take the wheels off of the one, at least the rear wheels off the one I got already, and put it on the other one, and go from there. Try to piece one together out of, well, technically three, because the one I picked up is a 1935 chassis with a 38 motor. So we'll see what happens, you know. I'm not really sure at this point. I don't know too much about the F20s. If anybody has, I noticed that the oil lines that run from the oil filter canister to the block and wherever else, I think there's three fittings on that oil filter housing. They are mismatched, and I don't know where they go because a couple of them were pulled off. I think I have an idea, but if anybody has a map they could draw me, or a photo they could send me of the F20 oil line configuration, I would be very grateful. But let me get this air compressor tank unloaded in the garage, and we'll see what we can work out with this thing. Alright guys, well, as you can see, this tank has been stripped down, and I'll kind of show you what we got going on here. As far as, if you can hear it, I'll tip it up, see if you can hear the amount of rust that this tank has inside it. It's got a lot, which is not safe to pressure up. I'm glad I only did it one time. But ta-da! Here we are. The only thing I really have to do is I have to get a fitting for my pressure gauge, because this is a little bit smaller, the fitting for the pressure gauge compared to the fitting in the tank. So I have to get a fitting for that. I have to get an extension pipe to bring my regulator up high enough in here. I need about an inch or so of extension, and that should be good. Maybe 2 inches. And because most air compressors have the air line coming out of the plug on the side here, my regulator has it so that the hose comes right out of the regulator, and I'm just going to get a plug for this, you know, a square-headed plug, and that should be good there. So all in all, I'll have probably less than $100 into this compressor, and I think it's going to run real well. I'm going to change the oil in it when I get when I go to the store here, and the oil that's in here is really clean. It's not terrible. I mean, it's clear, so it's not dirty by any means, but I might as well change the oil in it anyways because I don't know how long this compressor's been sitting. So I'll get a quart or so of synthetic blend non-detergent air compressor oil. So let's head to the store and we'll see what happens. Oh, and thanks again, Tony Perello. I am using these. I've got one full of nuts and bolts right now. So anyways, let's head to the store and get this thing finished up. Alright guys, well, we've got some work done. As you can see, we have an empty pallet, we have a empty tank, and we have some leftover shrouding. So that means we've got an air compressor that's all set up and ready to go. Now this originally is a Husky brand tank, and it was a Sanborn motor and compressor motor. So this is a 3-horse motor. All I really had to modify, it actually looks exactly the same as the motors on the Husky tanks on the Home Depot show floor. So the only thing I had to modify was this label plate made out of plastic, so it was really easy. Did it on the bench grinder. It's my pressure control gauge, my inlet or outlet for the tank, and then my safety valve. I had to modify that. I had to reshape the tubing for the regulator. I had to bend the on-off switch just a little bit so it clears the crankcase of the motor. Had to get a fitting for this gauge, the tank pressure gauge, and it's sitting at about 100 psi, and it hasn't moved since I first aired it up. I had to get an extension coupling for the main inlet for the tank, and that's oh, had to get a new belt. This is a 41-inch belt, a little bit shorter than the one that was on there. I think the one that was on there was a 48. So a little bit shorter. And then I mounted the hose bracket off the other compressor onto this one. Had to do some drilling and stuff to make it work, but it works just great. Other than that, oh, can't forget, I added the Farmall sticker. This is the rear axle sticker, I believe, for the F20 decal kit that I was given. And I'm not going to use a decal kit on those. I'm going to keep them original for quite some time. So I figured, why not have some fun and turn this Home Depot air compressor, Home Depot homemade air compressor, into a Farmall air compressor. So I thought you guys might like that. Another thing, total, I paid $74.99 for that tank. I paid for new oil. I changed the oil in it, the fittings, and the new belt. I think I've got, I did the calc, I added it all up. I got like $107 and some change into this air compressor. Not too shabby for what they had it listed for. Retail on the Home Depot show floor was like $489, I think. So $107 versus $489. If I get a year out of this compressor, it'll be well worth it. But I think I'll get a lot longer than that because this motor runs quiet and smooth. So, and the oil that I took out of it was clean. There was no, it looked brand new. So I think this is going to work out really well for what I'm going to need it for, at least until I can get something bigger. But this is a 60 gallon already, so anyhow, that's our new shop edition. Been a lot of things going on this week. Last, I'm going to take you guys upstairs and we are going to do the giveaway that I've been talking about. When I get upstairs, I'll explain the rules to you guys, and
we'll get it done.
Alright guys, so here's the deal. I'm going to let you know what the rules are. First of all, nobody answer the questions in the comments below. I have an email address that I'm going to put underneath right now, and I'll put it in the description as well, where I want you guys to answer the questions. You've got 48 hours. So what's today? Wednesday? Let's call it midnight Thursday to midnight Saturday. So you got all day Thursday, all day Friday to answer the questions. I want you to submit your answers via email that I'm going to attach to this video. And the first one who answers all 5 questions correctly in the first 48 hours is going to get the prize. I'm not going to tell you what the prize is, but it's going to be shipped to you, no cost to you. It's just some souvenirs from my shop and then a gift as well. So, are you guys ready? Grab a pen and paper. Sorry, I got to read these off my computer. First question. What make, model, and year are each one of my tractors? I have 5 tractors. I want the make, model, and year of each of them. Okay? Question 2. What is something rare or unique about my orange tractor? Question 3. How many videos do I currently have on YouTube, including this one? Question 4. What year did John Deere introduce his first plow for sale? Or, yeah, I guess what year is he known for establishing the company John Deere? What year did Raymond Loewy begin redesigning the farm line for International Harvester? That's question 5. So again, submit all your answers to the email address in the description, and you've got 48 hours from midnight tonight till midnight Saturday. So all day Thursday, all day Friday till midnight. First person to answer all 5 of these correct wins the prize. Do not put your answers in the comment section. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and good luck.